welcome back. Today I'm going to talk about the other 3 books that I read in the month of November. The first 3, The Kind Worth Killing, The Kind Worth Saving, and Pretty, I talked about last week. So this week I'm going to talk about 3 more books that I read in the month of November. I want to start with a book that I only read because I know this girl from TikTok. Many of you may have heard of her. She wrote her memoir Overcome under her real name Amber Vanderbund, but many of you may know her as Carmen Karma. She is a star in the adult industry. She started off as a stripper, then started making adult movies, and right now she has her own OnlyFans. This book she wrote a couple of years ago. I didn't know that until she casually mentioned it in one of her TikToks. This is about her life and how she became who she is today and why she chose this path that many people along the way have judged her for and called her out for and whatnot. But this is why I always say, before you really judge someone, or before you just, look at a girl and call her names for the way she dresses or for the amount of guys she sleeps with or what she does for a living, like before you do any of that, try to remember that there's an actual person with a story behind it. And you might think you know from looking at one video, but you don't. You really don't. So I chose to do the audiobook. Shout out to the Cincinnati Library, because they were the only library that had the audiobook available. And she was reading it herself, which I so appreciated. I love when, especially for memoirs, when the author reads the book themselves. And I was shocked at some of the things she talked about. I was hurt for her, and I understand way better now why she is who she is. I don't have to agree with everything she does. No one has to. It's her life and it's what she wants to do. But it definitely gave me a better understanding of where she's coming from. And wow, if I would have been through what she would have been through, if I tell you, like, she escaped death multiple times, I am just baffled by the amount of pain and backlashes she had to endure. So I definitely recommend this book if you enjoy memoirs, if you're not triggered by drug addiction, alcoholism, anything. This is definitely a book that I could have listened to the whole time. I remember I finished this within 2-3 days, because as I said, I did the audiobook and I kept listening to it and I wanted to know, okay, what's next, like what's happening now. So this was a fantastic book. As I said, I'm not going to rate it because it is a memoir, and Bookstagram taught me that you're not supposed to rate memoirs, because people can't change their life just to make a better book, which makes sense. But if I would rate it, I would give it 5 stars because it's really interesting. Anyways, Amber Vanderbund, Overcome. Check it out. Let me know what you think. And also give her a follow on TikTok. She's actually pretty funny. My iPad just died. And so now I will just put the books up here whenever I talk about them. The next one is going to be Black Sheep by Rachel Harrison. And I will tell you right now, if you're planning on reading this book, do not read any reviews, do not Google it, do not check on someone's page for it or try to read more what it's about. No. This book, you need to go in blindly. And someone told me that, and that's what I did. And I'm grateful for that. I'm super grateful, because I recently scrolled on Instagram and someone posted about this, putting a major spoiler and everyone just seemed like, oh, well, this sounds so cool, blah, blah, blah. Not realizing that this was one of the biggest parts in this book where it's like it's not mentioned on the back of the book for a reason. So don't put it in your review. This is what freaks me out. But as I said, I'm goody because I already read the book, so there's no spoilers for me. But I'm just sad for everyone who saw that girl's post because you're not supposed to say those things. Anyways, so I'm not going to say much about what this book is about because, as I said, the only things you need to know. Vesper did leave her family 6 years ago because they are very religious. And now, for the first time in 6 years, she is going back for a reason. You don't need to know all the details. You don't need to know why she's going back. You don't need to know nothing. This is all. This is all. Girl who fled from her family because of religion, going back to visit. That's it. And people raved about this book so much. They were saying how amazing it is and how they were flabbergasted and their jaw dropped and whatnot. I was so intrigued. I wanted to feel all those feelings. I wanted my jaw to drop. I wanted to fall off the chair and drop my book and have to read it again to make sure that it's really what it said. People kind of oversold it. Is that a word? I don't know. They talked it up too much so that my expectations were here and the book was here. So it's a great book. I definitely enjoyed it. I read it super quick. As I said, I got it from the library, so I actually did read the physical copy. And usually I'm not that fast of a reader, but this one I read it in a couple of days, also because my library loan was expiring in a few days. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It didn't shock me as much as it should have. I hope if you read it that it will shock you and that your jaw will be on the floor. If you didn't read any spoilers. I truly appreciated how the story was written, how the story progressed. Even though everything that happened, at least to me, was pretty predictable. I figured some things out before they happened, which I'm not mad at it. That's fine. It had to make sense, and I think anything else wouldn't have made sense. So, anyways, a great book. I truly enjoyed it. I remember my favorite part was when she was wearing a dress and she really didn't like it. And she said that, and then someone said, well, when are you ever going to be able to wear a dress like this again? And I was thinking in my head, hopefully never. And then I turned the page and it said, hopefully never. This is what I mean. Like it was pretty predictable, but it was hilarious. I loved it. I gave it 4 stars. And as I said, it's a great read. You should definitely check it out without looking too much into it. Just get it, just read it. It will be cool, I promise. So the last book that I read in the month of November was Ziwei's book, Black Friend. I'm sure you heard about her. Ziwei is a TV host. She also has, of course, her own social media platforms. I think she started during the pandemic with like Instagram Lives, and then she had her own show on Showtime. But for some reason they canceled it, which I still don't understand. And I really hope she will get another platform where she can have her interviews, because her interviews are super unique. Kind of like, all those interviews, Funny Marco, or what is that girl, Bobby, or whatever her name is. Like, they all have their style, and Ziwei has her style. So Ziwei asks very uncomfortable questions to the people who go on the show, and it turns really funny sometimes. But anyways, this book is essays about her experiences living in America as a Black woman and many of the situations that she had to face. It reminded me sometimes of I'm Still Here by Austin Channing Brown, and it was a very interesting and at times hilarious read. She touched upon serious topics, but she put it in a funny way. Like she will talk about racism and then she says something funny to like lift the mood again. I truly enjoyed it. I learned a thing or two also about history. She talks about some people in history that I didn't even hear about, and I really appreciated that she shed light on those people, and I truly think that I learned a thing or two. She would just put like random footnotes also. I love the footnotes. This is why I didn't like to do the ebook. I think you have to get the actual paper copy, because that way you can just flip forward to the footnotes and then check what it means and then go back. On the Kindle, it was a little frustrating because I had to go forward and then I had to check the footnote and then I had to go back. I didn't really enjoy that, but as I said, maybe I'm getting the hardcover too. It was a really good book, and I truly appreciate Ziwe that she shared all these experiences with us. So yeah, shout out to Ziwe. These were the 3 other books that I read in the month of November. Please let me know if you have read any of these 3 or if you want to read them. I can definitely recommend all 3. And I am looking forward to talk more about books next week. Bye.